Nope.
Okay.
This is
cool.
why Brad is with us today. So,
Hello. That is the intro.
Welcome to episode 68. I believe it's 68 of the Saudi Fitness Talk Show. We're delighted today to have Brad. I don't even know your surname.
Harris. There you go.
I mean, I was looking on your social media. I couldn't find.
Yeah, it's not really around actually. It's just
Brad.
Yeah, Brad. That's it.
Yeah. Brad and photography and videography and everything else. But thank you very much for coming on the Saudi Fitness
No problem.
Talk Show
Thank
today.
you for having me.
No, yeah, and thanks for staying up. You know, it was nearly this episode did not happen today. But with multiple things, Todd is not with me today, so I'm literally on my own. Which is the first time in 68 episodes I haven't been with Todd. So.
Wow, so big boots to fill I've got.
Yeah, you got a lot of boots to fill, to be honest. But I knew, because I know you're a busy guy, so we had to get you on the show somehow, and we made it happen. So it was.
Here we are.
Here we are today. So, Brad, you are the leader of no one.
Yeah. So
where did that? What's the name about? Because I saw it, I was like. You know, it's one of those names you read and you read again, and then I read it again, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
So where's the story behind that?
A lot of people ask me this, and it's not as exciting as you might think. It's literally, when I was like a teenager, it was literally me playing video games with my friends, and it was like a long-running joke where someone said like, "Everyone follow me, I'm the leader," and then like I did my own thing, and I was like, "I'm leader of no one." Sounds very cringy now, and then I don't know. I thought it was quite a cool little phrase and name, and I kind of had it since I was a teenager, and it's just followed through, and I think it's a bit more unique than just Bradley Harris because it's quite a generic name. Yeah. So. Yeah, it's kind of stuck.
Yeah, because it makes you look at it twice at least.
Yeah,
right? You look at it. You know, Bradley Harris. I probably look at it once, but leader of no one. You're like. You try and figure it out a little bit.
Yeah, and people spell it wrong as well, and they think it's leader of none or noon, and I'm like, no, leader of no one. There you go. Yeah.
Leader of none. Well, it kind of goes with it, yeah. But I mean, you know, with you, from the looks of it, I mean, we'll go into all these different areas. I mean, you've got big YouTube, and big is growing. I mean, over 20,000 subscribers
just
now.
hit 20,000 subscribers.
Congratulations!
Thank you. So that's a big
but
one.
It's something that's been in the pipeline. You've been working on this for a long time. I mean, like 8 years.
Yeah.
And that's what you kind of hear with a lot of the people who are on YouTube. It's not an overnight success. You know, it's something that you really got to work at. And, you know, be committed to and consistent with and produce over and over again. That's what it looks like.
Well, it's like people say, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. Like I've done.
One of my mentors is that Charles Pollock when always said, it takes like 20 years to become an overnight success.
Yeah. It's true. Like I've had like 2 or 3 videos go what I call viral for me, which is like 100 to 500,000 views, which one of them was about the storms in Dubai about a year ago. You might remember them. That was like worldwide.
You were there,
yeah, and it was as crazy as the news made out, and so I sort of made a vlog of my experience of that. And that did really well. That got like 500,000 views, and that.
Yeah, that microphone sometimes get a bit excited.
Oops.
And it will tip. So
there you go.
You have to keep an eye on that one.
That was like my overnight success, but that was still just part of the journey. That gave me a couple thousand subscribers, but I've been making videos. I've tried to do one a week for the past 3 or 4 years now. And I made some before that as well, but I've been trying to keep consistent, share my experiences of Dubai, because I was there for 7 years, and now my experiences of Saudi and the travel we get up to in between.
So 8 years ago, wasn't it? So that's, what's that? It's 2016?
Yes.
So what prompted the start into YouTube and start vlogging? Were you always into photography? Or?
Yeah, so I started originally, I started the channel when I was like a teenager, and I posted like once every couple months. I didn't really go for it. I
saw a lot of stuff was at Scotland.
Yeah, so that was like my original stuff. That was like 8 years ago.
You were living there, yeah?
No, that was like I was originally from London, and I did like a road trip up to Scotland. I was like, right, I'm going to try and vlog it. And I was like maybe 16, 17 at the time.
Yeah.
So that was like my first experience of vlogging.
Okay.
And then I kind of stopped for ages. Then I went to India for a month, and I tried it again. And then I didn't do it. And then so I've had a couple years of on and off. So then when it came to lockdown during COVID and all of this, I was in Dubai, and Dubai had really strict lockdown procedures. We weren't allowed to leave our apartment. We had to get permission from the police to go to the shops. It was...
But for how long though?
This was like 3 months.
Yeah. Saudi was very similar. It was 3 months super strict, hard lockdown. You know, you couldn't do anything.
It was good because when everyone in England was still suffering in different ways, we were actually free and everything was okay. But that pushed me to actually start making a vlog, and then I realized quite quickly that the unique experience of being in Dubai was something that people were really interested in.
Yeah.
So one of my biggest videos was what to know before moving to Dubai. So that did very well, and that had a load of people from England watching to know. It was information like
Dubai was still. I mean, it's still busy, and I mean, a lot of expats had already gone. A lot of Brits had already gone to.
Yeah, so it was the sort of bit that I thought was missing, and I thought it was missing was what SIM card to get, what's there to do, how much is a coffee, how much is the cinema, like really simple things.
I think everyone knew that already. You know what
exactly.
I mean? Yeah, but they don't. Yeah,
and it's kind of shocking. Like the questions people would ask me, I was like, isn't that obvious? And it's like, no, actually, it isn't to some people, or if you haven't been or anything. Like same as coming to Saudi. It is still a sort of unknown. So to try and give as much information as I possibly can is the goal with the YouTube channel.
Yeah. Just shine a light on what's going on and be kind of, and that's what we, with the Saudi Fitness Talk Show, as much as we try and stay on topic of Saudi and everything else, is for people listening around the world to kind of see what's going on here and get it. You know, we do our news show, you know, every other week or when we don't have a guest, basically, but to kind of talk about what's going on here, the events that are coming up, and all these type of things, and you know, kind of. General things that are happening here, but people are always shocked, and especially when we talk to our guests like yourself. You know, just this, especially, and we'll go into it in more detail in a minute about like the difference between Dubai and Saudi and what's actually happening here. But I always think I always kind of feel like Dubai is like done.
Yeah.
But it's still now, especially, you know, we talk about the UK and stuff, but there seems to be an even bigger movement now of people, especially Brits, moving to Dubai now. Yeah. They're really curious about what's going on there.
It's a whole new sort of thing now. It's very different to where it was. Like when I first moved there 6-7 years ago, there was expats and there was English people, but that now it feels like it's all English people and all expats. And it's a similar thing with the events. There's not so much going on anymore. It's the event. I also have a day job in events, so I work in AV, like some of the big shows out here, which is really exciting because all the shows are here in Saudi, especially compared to Dubai. Everything used to be in Dubai and people would travel from across the world for that. Now people are traveling to Saudi. So
and even people from Dubai traveling to Saudi. You
exactly
know what I mean?
that. Yeah, I've done it myself. Like, for the boxing matches and things, we've come from Dubai to Saudi for it. So.
And you moved here the same company, or did you transition to a new company?
Yeah, so bit of a messy story, but I ended up staying with the same company I was with in Dubai, and I transitioned to our new office in Saudi. So
transition office.
So it's quite it's an exciting time for the company as well, where we're building up to what we have in Dubai here. So it's teething problems and challenges.
But I came in, was it 2018 to Saudi? Again, it was a startup. And you know, people talk about coming into startups now into Saudi, going into and just the country was in such a pre-COVID, such a different place. Nothing had really gone online yet. You had none of the apps yet. Like Tawakalnas, or you had the Sehati, you know, all these other apps that you have to verify things or whatever. None of that was there. Everything. I mean, it's still not seamless now. But it's a hell of a lot better what it was in 2018.
And this is what I keep saying to people as well. It's like that transition has been 2, 3, 4, 5 years. It takes countries 40, 50 years to see that sort of growth and transition.
And it's fast here because of it's a monarchy, that side of things. Decisions just happen like that overnight. Whereas if this same process was happening in the US or UK or any of Europe, really, it would take decades, if not centuries, to have all the bureaucracy and red tape, and you got to put things through Parliament. Everyone's going to decide that stays there for 5 years, and you know what I mean.
And that's the exciting thing about here as well, is those decisions are made so quickly and things are changing so quickly. And the things I sort of complain about or have issues with is it's small teething problems that can be fixed, and they are exactly. Like you go to an event and you see, oh, this was a problem this time because they've never done this type of event before, and then the next one you go to, that's fixed.
Did you come to the Middle Beast, the first one?
I didn't come to the original one.
2020, I think it was.
Yeah, I didn't go to the first one. How did you go?
No, but it was carnage. That's what everyone said. There was queues for hours, like 4 hours, 3-4 hours to get to it.
And it's simple things like the queuing system and the food trucks or the toilets, and it's those little infrastructure things that might get missed because you're thinking big stage. This is going to be amazing, and those little bad things are the things that take a bit more effort are actually you forget about compared to seeing Eminem on a massive stage in Saudi Arabia.
No, you do, isn't it? I mean, you just kind of you take it for granted, you know, when you go to like events or whatever in the UK, in London and the UK, you just go through it, don't even think about it.
Yeah, and we were talking about this the other day. Like the O2 in London has full-time staff for ticketing and for security, and it's like they're doing events every other day or every week.
Every weekend
so
there's always stuff going on.
It's simple and it's done. But here we've got new people learning how to do tickets,
expats mixing with Saudis.
Exactly.
You know, they both don't know the custom. There's both confusions and miscommunications and misunderstandings. Language barriers. It's carnage. I know. There's some of these events, but then the second year, Middle East, it was way better.
Yeah.
Third year was even better. Now this year's last year, 2024 was everyone said it was great and everything else going on. So in terms of organisation, anyway. But
I was very lucky to shoot Middle Beast, like
you went
Soundstorm as a photographer for the past 2 years.
Okay.
So that's a very intense weekend where it's sort of like 18-hour days of shooting, editing. I had
you stay there on site?
No,
you have to go in and out.
And that's a challenge in itself. So, but this year I had, and the previous year had a full team with me. So we created some really amazing content. So it's such an epic festival to shoot. It's the biggest acts in the world, the biggest like stages.
Get to go behind the scenes and see
on
some
stage.
Artists.
I was
with Eminem like on all that lot.
I shot Eminem actually for a creative agency in LA, which was amazing. Like a random LA agency reached out to me.
Okay.
So those sort of opportunities are here in Saudi because I'm here, which is so exciting.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, you know, like the how quickly you can get to an opportunity here is just so much fun. Like I've been on the radio twice, like the SRFM, like the equivalent of like the BBC, you know, for like BBC radio or whatever. I would never get anywhere near to that in the UK. Getting on it on like Radio 1 or Radio 2 even or whatever. Not a chance.
Yeah, that
unless you really know someone or you're a massive celebrity or like, you know, which is mental.
Yeah, and even for like my day job, I came to Dubai when I was 18 as a trainee, basically. I knew nothing. I was 18. I didn't have a job or anything. And then 3-4 years later, I was the technical manager of a theme park, looking after a load of stages. Then now I've progressed to being like a project manager for events like the UFC. And in the UK, I'm 26 now.
Yeah.
And like compared to where I would be if I stayed in the UK, I'm miles ahead of where I would be. So the progression here, obviously the money's good.
Yep.
The reason a lot of people are here.
Packages are good, you know, everything else.
Yeah, like and and more it's becoming more family orientated for expats and all these different compounds.
Bringing their families.
Yeah, and even where we are now, Flow, like the community here is amazing. Yeah. And it's really helped our journey in Saudi. So finding the right people and places to be it helps a lot.
I mean, obviously you moved here, was it 2 years ago or a year ago?
So I spent a year on a project here. So I was traveling in and out, but it felt like I lived here. Yeah. And then we officially moved in June last year. Yeah. So. And
you came straight to Flow, or you went somewhere else?
We had like a hotel and a couple of apartments, and then eventually when Flow opened, soft opening, we were the very first people to move in.
Very first?
The very first, yeah. Wow. And I don't know if you saw it at that point, but this was August and it was
hot.
And we had to buy into the vision because
it would look totally different.
Yeah, it was completely different. Yeah, all of it was still being built and a work in progress, and luckily we bought into it and it was worth it because it's all come to life.
Better and better, isn't it?
Yeah, it's incredible now.
Yeah, the community's building. And, you know, like just even just like value for money, what you get here, you know.
And even the sessions like that you guys run, like we did one with Sir Alan, and my god, it was a really good workout. Yeah. Like, and for those things to be included with like your rent and everything at Flow is great. You don't need a gym membership because you've got you guys coming in and providing these classes.
You've got good equipment, you've got everything in there, and you've got all the recovery, you've got the plunge pools, jacuzzis, saunas. And for what you get, it's crazy.
Yeah, don't need to leave.
No, and I think you know, Flow here, I think now they're obviously going to open up in Granada. They're going to do very well here.
Yeah,
you know, I think, and you just see it like
it's a new concept for Saudi, really. Like you've seen compounds,
but even I think across the world.
Yeah,
like it's not. I don't see anything in the UK much like this. You know, and this kind of complex living and community building and
the wellness aspect.
Yeah, like wellness and having activities and like I would call it like from military background, like team bonding sort of stuff. You get together and you do artwork or you do culinary stuff or fitness stuff or whatever it is. It's a very new concept, but you see it what they're doing in Miami, you see what they're doing here and how they're going to expand, and you think, wow, these guys can really, you know, make a big impact. You can almost have one flow in every district in Riyadh alone.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And then start moving Jeddah, Dammam, like
they're not even in Dubai yet.
Over. Yeah, that's crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you would expect this sort of thing in Dubai.
Yeah.
I mean, from what I've never been. Todd used to. I keep looking. I was like, Todd, where are you?
You've never been to Dubai?
I've only transited through it.
Really?
Yeah.
It's an hour and a half away.
I know, I'm a terrible person.
Okay.
I've never been to Abu Dhabi. I've never been to Dubai. I've only ever transited through them. But you know, Todd lived there for about a year before I stole him from there and brought him over here.
Yeah.
And you know, it seems like the Vegas of the Middle East at the moment.
Yeah.
Would that be a fair way to put it?
Pretty fair. It's very there's a lot to do. There's the whole spectrum of party to nature, and you get everyone that comes for both of those things. But it's changed a lot.
Superficial, would you say?
It's hard because
that's what people say. Like,
there's superficial
and you know, flashy and like all this sort of. But can you avoid that there?
Yeah, I think it depends where you go. Like, and those sort of people will always be at the 5 Hotel and the party
and
places.
Always the ones on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so that's all you ever see, you know, Dubai. But I'm sure there's another side.
There's a whole lot more to it, especially like between our friends. We're friends with a lot of like teachers or people that work in finance and office jobs, and it's like. Yeah, there's all the influencers pretending.
You also got those who've really settled there. They've been there 15 years now, maybe 20 years or so.
Yeah, some of our friends, like my partner, Eb, she actually moved there when she was 14, 15.
Okay, so she grew up there
She grew up there. She went to school there.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll talk about it when you have her on your podcast.
Yeah.
But yes, so like her insights to that are even different to mine. And it's crazy how it's changed. But the problem is with how attractive it is to people now, it's becoming a place where anyone can go and you can get the jobs that used to be paid very well are now a little bit less because everyone wants to be there, so they accept less salary. There's no tax, so compared to the UK, you doubled your money straight away. In some cases, it
seems like maybe America will be. It's like the new American dream. It's like the land of opportunity.
Yes, yeah, that's fair.
Maybe depending on what happens over the next 4 years and whatever, along with the US, it could be, you know, with Trump and everything in, and that it seems like they want to promote all that kind of make America great again, which is kind of going back to the American dream and all that sort of sign and being prosperous. But Dubai definitely on the global stage seems like the place.
Yeah.
If you don't want to go to America, go to Dubai.
Yeah, that's fair, and I think Saudi's starting to get up
pushing.
there. There's a lot of things that need improving before it's in that sort of top 10 or whatever, but it's getting there. It's on its path.
You just think like Saudi is a country. I mean, it's huge as a country, and Dubai is a city.
Yeah,
and a region of one of the Emirates. And then you got Abu Dhabi. Everyone thinks of Dubai as a country.
Yeah, that's crazy. Isn't
Especially
it?
you go to like UK. Like, it's a country, isn't it? Like, no, it's part of the UAE, but it's part of that. But people think of it as a country. So you see what Dubai has done and Abu Dhabi's done, and you see even like Doha, like Qatar, but that's a tiny peninsula. And Bahrain, like and then you think, what could Saudi do? I mean, they are ginormous. I mean, they are even the powerhouse.
Even just land mass. They've got the money to do it, and they've got the space. So
and the oil and everything else they've got. And now they've just found lithium that they can get off the oil, like, which is
really?
great. Yeah. I think it was last week came up in the news that they're now they found like from the oil when they draw up the oil, part of the like excrement, the extra stuff. There's loads of lithium in it.
Wow.
So for all the EV cars and electric cars, batteries, they're like They're not. They said they're not. It's not worth them. It's too expensive at the moment to use it. But they said in a couple of years' time, once the EVs get bigger and bigger, then they'll do it.
Wow.
So you think they've got all this oil, or the second biggest reserve in the world that we know of, Plus, then now he's found all this lithium with the oil.
Yeah, I think they'll be okay.
They're going to be,
and the tourism.
And then I heard
everything.
like end of last year they found, I do swear on the
load.
show, shit tons of gold mines as well.
Yeah,
They're just
wow.
like, what a place to be.
Yeah. I think they'll be okay for a while.
They're going to be all right for a bit. But
and then all the tourism that's to come with even. Have you been to Aula?
Yeah, I went many years ago.
Okay, so I went for a festival.
Yeah.
I went for a festival about was it last?
Was it
2013? Yeah, it was. It's called Azumath. So they have this festival in the middle of the mountains.
So you're doing the Riyadh Marathon tomorrow, and you were doing.
I like to tell people that we're doing the Riyadh Marathon, but I'm doing.
Everyone likes to say they're doing the marathon, and then they say, "Oh yeah, but we're doing the 4K."
We're doing the 10K, so it's not the slowest, shortest. There you go. But yeah, so
10K is a decent. I mean, it's an hour pretty much of running.
Yeah. So like Eb has been a bit more of a runner than me. I really enjoy it. We were just saying like. Being on a treadmill, I find brain numbing. Like it's just so boring.
I don't know how people run on treadmills.
No, I get a 5-minute warm up, but I can't sit there.
Todd
and do half an
used
hour.
to be a swimmer, and I always say to him, I don't know how you used to that. Just watching, counting tiles as he's swimming. You know what I mean? Like swimming is one of the most boring sports. He admits it as well. One of the most boring sports, but you know, because you're just going forwards and backwards. You're just looking at tiles. You can't look at anything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, running on a treadmill. I just, really struggle with that.
Not for me. But I enjoy running. Like I like being out, going outside, seeing some new stuff. Like we went down to there's something called Wadi Hanifa.
Yeah, Wadi Hanifa. Yeah, it's beautiful down there.
Amazing. We did a long run there like 2 weeks ago. So we did like
you on your own with you and Eb,
just me and Eb.
Yeah.
We just went one Friday morning, went down there, and it was really nice. We did like an hour and 10 minutes, just half an hour straight there, half an hour back.
I like those sort of runs because you run like, and you're like, shit, I've got to come back.
I need to turn around.
I have to come back.
Yeah,
Like, I have to make it.
I like that because it forces you. Like,
That's.
I try to push myself in the middle bit because I'm like, the further I go now, the more I have to run back. So if I just keep pushing myself, I'm going to have to push myself back.
I have to push to get. I can't just not come back.
But that was really nice, like palm trees, nice, like wadi, like really.
You got like a
nice.
Friday morning or something like that.
Yeah, it was nice and quiet. No one really around. Then by the time we were coming back, it was like prayer time, so everyone was coming out of the mosque. It was it's really nice.
Yeah, families. Been around the DQ, the trail. Done that trail?
We did that. Yeah. That was last week. That one.
Okay.
So,
that's about 5K, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, we didn't do too much. I think we did 5K. That was it.
Yeah.
But that was really nice as well. They're both on par. Really nice. We need some more recommendations now. So if anyone's got any,
exactly.
Let us know.
Yeah. No. It's there are some. There's a nice place down south called Lake Park.
Okay.
I'll share with you the location afterwards. It's about a 45-minute drive, so it's a bit of a drive. But
that's the challenge as well here. It's like you have to drive to it. And it's like if you're psyching yourself up for a big run, that's okay. But like if we're just popping out for a run, I've gone around the block here like 100 times now. I could tell you every apartment, the colour, number, everything. So to try and mix it up a little bit is good.
Yeah, no, Lake Park's nice. Like, I've been down there. Like, there's lots of people go picnicking down there. I think the kids down there quite a lot, and people you go running. Like, there's you can follow. They got I don't know if it's man-made. Kind of looks it, but a river as such. Maybe it's part of one of the wadis, but it's really nice. You've got nice paths you can follow and. Really nice down there, but again, you got to travel. Have you been down to like Red Sands and down that area?
There's still so much on our list that we want to see in Riyadh. We've just been so busy. Like,
it's good though. At least for your YouTube, you've got plenty of stuff to record.
Yeah, it's good.
Red Sands is great down there. The dunes and
I'd like to do a bit of off-roading as well. I finally got my car over here, so it's time to.
Where from Dubai?
Yeah. I had loads of troubles with that.
I was about to say, is that an easy process or
no, it's not.
Hard process?
Yes. At the moment, it's still here as a tourist. So it's got a Dubai plate to import it. It was all going very well. I did all the paperwork and everything, which was a lot of work. And then they asked me for the value of the car. I told them a high number thinking it was for insurance. And then they were like, 20% import tax. I was like, that's a lot of money. I'm just going to not do that. It was cheaper to sell it and buy it again. So it's on Dubai place at the moment, but it's nice to have my car.
So what does that mean when it's on a tour? What does he say?
So I bring it
3
in
months or
1 year. Okay. So it just means once a year I need to drive back to Dubai, which we're going to do enough adventures. We'll end up doing that anyway.
9-10 hours from here, isn't it?
Yeah. So we're Qatar's almost halfway. So by the time you do 6 hours to Qatar, spend a day or a weekend there, then another 6 hours to Dubai, it breaks it up fully.
Yeah. You've been to Bahrain? You driven to Bahrain? And
Bahrain still not done. I spent a lot of time in Qatar during the World Cup. I was working there a lot, so I know Qatar well. But Bahrain is on the list as well. We were supposed to go last weekend, and then I got a job, so we didn't go. Because
it seems like with leader, like you got your full-time job, obviously, that's the thing, but you're doing all the YouTube channels, another big thing. I highly recommend anyone watching it to go have a look at Brad's videos, especially to get I've recruited a lot of people. I brought a lot of trainers and instructors, all this stuff over the last sort of 6 years, and always the question, what's going on in Saudi? What's happening? And I say, look, honestly, the best resource is not Brad. I was you were saying
I was like, this is great.
I'm not that cringe and sucky up, by the way. No, I was going to say the best resource is YouTube.
Yeah.
Go onto YouTube, especially now. And especially Brad's, leader of no one. But to go and just see what goes on in daily life. There's so many travel vloggers have come now over the last 3 years, especially. What's happening here? Like Google is probably one of the worst resources.
Yeah.
Instagram's very hard to search unless you know people.
Yeah.
But YouTube, probably TikTok now as well is amazing, because it's a good search engine.
Yeah.
But to find out what actually goes on here.
Yeah, and that's kind of like my aim with the YouTube channel over the next coming months, especially as hopefully my work gets a bit quieter with summer and Ramadan. I'm actually we want to go to all these places that there's no YouTube videos about. There's very little information, and it's like me and Eb are quite happy to go somewhere and see what it's like. If it's good, if it's bad, if it's what we expected, and document it for people that.
So what's on the list? What can look forward to?
My secrets. Very generic is just going to Bahrain. I've not. I want to document that, see how that goes, and explore Bahrain, and definitely driving to Al Ula. So that's going to take a lot to get up
that's
there.
Like 10 hours or so.
But then also, I really want to drive around Neom. Although there's not much happening, I feel like to actually just document the construction.
Show some real what's actually happening. It's still hard to see what's going on.
Yeah, I think that's kind of missing. I saw a really good. There's a guy on YouTube I watch. I can't remember his name, but he does documentaries, and he went and started exploring this. I was like, great. That first of all, you stole my idea.
Yeah,
second
but it's
of
possible.
All, I want to go and see this with my own eyes and get my view on it. So, especially that Abha is quite big on it. There's not a lot of YouTube videos on it, or they're in Arabic, or I just want to give my perspective on it. So
over the west, there's a lot on that west side.
Yeah.
When I used to live in Jeddah for about 3 years. And before I had kids, me and my wife used to do a lot of similar maybe to you and Eb. We used to go up and down that west coast, traveling, just driving,
and just stopping at little towns or villages. That's the part of the fun. I think Eb will agree. Is our favorite country is Oman. We love it. We've done many road trips there, driving all around. From Dubai to Muscat is 5 hours or so, 6 hours, so it's fine. And then the last trip I think it was the last one, we went down to Salalah.
Okay.
12-hour drive. We did it in one day, and at the end of it, we were
I didn't realise how big Oman is.
Yes, but we drove all down the coast and all the little towns, and it was just incredible. And especially with we've got a rooftop tent on top of my car, so camped the whole time.
My wife keeps bugging me to get one of those so we can go out and get the kids in, and we just drive.
Yeah. It's worth it. It is really good.
You just go anywhere. You just stop anywhere. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, we
try and
camped
find the right terrain or anything like this. You just get on top of the car.
Yeah, we camped on some amazing mountains, and the sea was just there. A little bit scary when you're in the middle of nowhere, but yeah, it was really cool.
It must kind of. Even mine just looks a lot more traditional. Muscat, I saw a YouTuber saying that there's no high-rise buildings.
No, it's all low
traditional
level.
So you got Dubai 5 hours away, which is what it is, ultra modern, future city of the future. And then 5 hours away, you got the total opposite end of the spectrum.
The contrast is crazy.
So crazy. The other country, I watched actually a YouTube video on it, because I love watching these travel, stuff that you do and other people do. I love what's his name? It's crazy. I watch so much of his stuff. He'll come to me in a minute.
Yeah.
But I watched one last night about Yemen.
Yeah.
it just looks ridiculous.
Is it the Socotora Islands? That I've seen so many people go there.
Yeah, Socotora Islands, but then also just inland, like cities, these like villages or towns built on top of the rocks.
Yeah.
And how they've done the aqueducts and water systems, like the Romans kind of used to do, like crazy stuff they've done. Like they've done the original like high-rise buildings. This one little city, so fascinating, but all built out of wood and mud and hay as such. How we in the UK, what was we used to call it, all the old medieval huts were built out of that. I can't remember what that stuff was called, out of hay and mud and
clay and
and I think some cow shit as well was
probably
as well
mixed in.
But all make them. I can't remember the name of it now. I can't remember anything now. But Yemen. It just. But even the guy was saying like, he said it was so hard filming there. Because obviously the war and there's a lot of stuff going on.
I was going to say
it's very turbulent still, but it just looks like an incredible. This whole peninsula, the Arabian Peninsula, is just fascinating.
And that stuff really excites me. Like I keep saying to Eb, like I want to go to these places. And Eb's not so keen, but even like this year, I'm going to go to Pakistan with my friends, which it's not crazy, but it's quite different to the modern cities that we go to at the moment. So, and I want to try and do that while we're young and no kids, and we can actually go to.
Trust me, do it.
Yeah,
because the first like couple of years, like with kids, I find like I've got two, a 3.5-year-old, and she's nearly 4 now, and a year and a half, and like the first year and a half, it's very challenging to travel with kids. But then once they hit about 2, then it's great to travel with them. Like with my daughter, we went to like Bali and like went to with her. I just strapped her on my back. Went to Sri Lanka, climbed like
nice.
What's the big rock
Sigiriya?
called? Sigiriya Rock. I had her like, and they're just very mobile. But then they get to like that tooth, and then once they start getting really confident, like 3, 4 now, like. You can't really just drag them everywhere. It becomes more difficult.
Know what they want.
They have there's this like tiny window around 2 years old is amazing, and then it becomes a little bit difficult, and then it will get easier again. You know what I mean, to travel with them because they just want to go by the pool and why are we walking all this way? But definitely you got to travel. Where else you been? Any crazy other places you been?
I did 6 weeks in India, which was that was cool.
Let's just stop on India. I've never been. My wife's been. And she went to go, but she did all the yoga stuff. And that. But then her sister is a big traveler, or used to be. Now she doesn't want to fly any planes because of global all that stuff, climate change. But I just hear, and then I watch all the vlog, travel on. Such a mixed thing with it. People either love it or hate it. I find it's like Marmite. What was your sort of?
It was amazing, and I'm glad I did it. But I'm not going to go back for a holiday. It's an event that I differentiate between adventure and holiday.
Okay.
That was an adventure. That's like go and see some cool stuff, poo yourself a lot. Like it's like it's not comfortable.
Delhi belly,
it's not comfortable. It's like you got Delhi belly the whole time. You got kids running up to you like asking for money all the time. It's
stressful.
I don't want to say it, but it's like very dirty. It's very like
and people talk about the smell.
I saw like 20 people crapping on the street, like just everywhere.
Did you watch that guy Bold and Bankrupt?
Yes,
I love him, and he hates India. And I remember he went back recently. I think it was like October time, and he just went back. He went back like a couple of years ago, slated it on YouTube. Got so many horrendous comments. But then he went back again just to double check. And he said, I hate this place.
I'm really glad I went, and like the adventure was amazing. Like I saw the Taj Mahal, and like we did a whole.
There's some beautiful elements.
We travelled like all around the north, like to loads of different cities, like Rajasthan, Udaipur. Like it was a whole adventure, and like the sleeper trains. It's like once in a lifetime. It's like I'm looking back on it now. I'm like, that's cool.
You go on a sleeper train?
Yeah, but like. The third class cheap like 20p for an 8 hour, and I always distinctly remember I had like a top bunk. It was horrible. Like it was like
Ed wasn't there.
No. It was I did like the company's called G Adventures. Have you heard of them? So they do like guided tours or whatever, and there was me and a couple of English people, very small group, and like they sort of guide you around and then let you get on with some stuff. So really good way of doing it. But I was on this bed and it was like 2 a.m. we got on it, and we were getting off at like 8 a.m. So like, right, sleep. Great, okay, trying. No, can't sleep. There's like really hot. They've got a metal fan above the bed going. And then
so it wasn't even like nice like white noise.
It was horrible. And then at 4 a.m. and like the problem is they sell the beds, and then it was like everyone just stands in between all of the beds as well, so it's completely packed in. 4 a.m.
and the smells.
Ding 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 ding. Water, like punny, water. Anyone want water? I was like, oh my god, I'm never gonna sleep. So no, I didn't get any sleep that night.
Yeah. So my wife, she traveled a bit like through Southeast Asia, through like Cambodia and Laos. She was saying about like the sleeper buses.
Yeah.
And just horrendous. And she told me a horrendous story. Like the guy came up, was trying to touch her up, like all this sort of stuff. Horrendous on the buses, but. You really got to mentally prepare yourself for some of these.
Yeah, so it's a whole nother thing. It's not like it's not a holiday. Yeah, it's like to see cool stuff.
Yeah, and you're on edge the whole time. Like, you know.
Yeah, we've done a couple of other cool trips. Like we did Sri Lanka as well. Did a week there.
Yeah, I saw that. I think on one of your vlogs.
Yeah, that was fun. And like the vlogs are really good as well because now we can go back and watch them and like reminisce about what we did. Like that's part of the reason I do it. It's like home videos, but for everyone. You think in 20 years' time, me and Eb sit there and go, remember when we went to Sri Lanka? Let's watch this.
That's what I love about YouTube. It's just, it doesn't get old. It stays there forever.
Yeah.
There's stuff from
bit scary, but...
like 15 years ago, or even yours, like 8 years ago. I remember I did videos from like probably like 12, 13 years ago. My original like YouTube channel, I was just filming exercises and stuff like that when I was at university and all this stuff. But that's and I love because you can just keep going back to it, and then people can still find it so easily. Whereas like I find Instagram so frustrating. Yeah, you can't find anything. It's so hard to search for unless you know exactly what you're looking for.
It's like trying to grab your attention so much like that, where it's just this is new. It's like in a whole nother conversation. It kind of takes away from like art as well. Like like me as a photographer, like. It's like everyone's a photographer now because you can just post on Instagram. Yeah. It's like there's a bit of a difference between taking a picture.
That's why I see like
how
TikTok is doing well and done. Obviously amazing, but because it's the search engine is so much better.
Yeah,
you can find things.
It just drags me in for like hours.
But what were you with like Instagram, TikTok? Like all that sort of stuff. Do you use it much? Or?
Yeah, it's really hard because when you're doing like social media, people tell you have to do everything.
Yeah.
And if you're doing YouTube, you have to do TikTok because you need to get people to go to your YouTube channel.
Yeah, and I've heard that. People like you've got to use it just for the views and to shift
the
people
short
over.
Form stuff like grab their attention, get them to YouTube. Yeah. It's like I like long form content. I like to develop a story and show what's going on and give information. I don't just like, hey guys, bang, this is happening. See ya. Like that's not that. I mean, I watch enough of it, and like I do sometimes, just because like that's what I feel like doing.
Yeah, it's part of it. Yeah,
it's just I don't really like it. I've got so many YouTube ideas that are where I want to talk in depth about this, but I think it's just killing like our brains. Like, even to be creative and like you see some of these people's TikToks, and there's like 10 shots in the first 2 seconds. It's like. Whoa, like there's no like calmness to it or energy. It's just like bang, bang,
this
bang.
This is why I enjoy podcasts because I really struggle with short form content. Just trying to create it, I just can't. Maybe
you can't get the message
I babble
across.
too much or whatever, but I've always enjoyed YouTube and podcasts more the long form content. Probably because most of my people call me a grumpy old man, or grandfather. Like my family just call me like the old grumpy grandfather. Basically, like I'm already an old man already. But compared to like the short form stuff, like I just can't. But my wife and like sister, I don't know. Maybe it's more female. I don't know. But I find like the women love it, and I see. Charlie, like my wife shows me like on TikTok, there's all these expat young females on there just posting so much stuff of them drinking coffee, matcha, and then their yoga, and their hair, and I'm just like, oh my, they're all just doing the same thing. I just don't get it.
And this is what annoys me as well. Is like the getting 10,000 views on TikTok, you can just literally film your coffee.
Yeah.
And whatever, but getting 10,000 views on YouTube is ideation, going and filming it, planning it all out, editing it all together, and actually coming up with a video, and people watching for 5 minutes, and
then it's
clicking
there
on it,
and it just keeps racking up views forever.
And it's just annoying when you see like 10,000 views and a cup of coffee. You're like, why am I bothering? Like, why do I put all this effort in? But some people appreciate it.
We've tried it with some of our with our events. Like we tried TikTok and Instagram. We've done like A/B testing, and like we paid ads and stuff like that. And Instagram works way better for us. Yeah. TikTok. loads of views.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't convert.
Nothing.
It never converts. Like, it's never even the right people. It's just like views, and that's what I think. Instagram's a really nice middle ground between TikTok and YouTube.
Yeah,
but it's prayer time. But it's I like Instagram, but again, I have this thing of like, and with my YouTube, I have this like complex about posting where I'm like, it needs to be perfect. It needs to be really good for me to post.
I bet you struggle with like creating reels as well.
Yeah, so like I try and do reels because I sometimes I have an idea and I'm like, this is better. If I have an idea that's short enough to be a reel and can't flesh out into a YouTube video, perfect, let's do that. But then I'm like, right, well, now I need to set the camera up and do this shot, and then it just gets to this whole thing, and it just doesn't end up happening.
Yeah, I think that's the. I just struggle with that short form content. Todd's really good at that, and he does a lot of our stuff for us. But he hates it as well, but he can actually do it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I hate it. I just can't do it.
Yeah,
you know, I'd rather sit in front of like this, like do podcasts and talk, or do YouTube. I do not regularly, not as much as you, but. Where I just talk for like 10, 15 minutes about a topic on fitness or whatever, rehab or stuff I've done before, you know, my experiences in corporate world of fitness, all this type of stuff, you know. But I prefer that, and I feel more satisfied.
Yeah. And I've always had this sort of opinion of, and I think someone said this before, is like, make good stuff and then people will come. Like, you don't have to don't
try and bend your knee to everyone's
conform to all these fast things and whatever. It's like so that's what I've always done. I like views. Everyone likes seeing views. You see a big number, you're like, great, that did well.
It doesn't mean anything.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so for me, it's always just make a good video and just make another good video. And even sometimes I feel they're slipping back a little bit and the quality's going down because I'm trying to get more out.
Yeah.
But we just got to keep going.
That's it. You've been doing it a long time. Like 8 years. And it's consistent. I always love flicking through 233 videos, something like that.
Yeah.
Like, you've done a lot of videos.
Yeah, so
that's a lot of hours behind the laptop, editing,
and
going through. Wow. But that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people now want this kind of get rich, especially young guys.
Yeah.
You know, are you a millennial or you're a Gen Z? I
don't know. Probably one of the
You're right on
bad
probably
ones, isn't it?
in the border. But you know, a lot of young guys they're looking for the get rich quick schemes and don't want to have to put in all the hard work.
It doesn't work.
But when you talk to a lot of people, someone like yourself, how you've grown it, and when you listen to even other podcasts, you know, and other people who are more successful, you know, there's always a common theme in there.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of young creators maybe listening to this, looking to kind of get into YouTube, what would be kind of your top tips or recommendations, how to get started with this kind of stuff?
I've been watching a lot of like educational YouTube stuff recently about like how to grow and all of this, and just do it. Like, you just got to keep posting. It sounds stupid, but it's like, all of them say is like, you post 100 videos, they're going to be bad. Your 100 to 200, they're going to be better. But you just got to keep going.
It's like us with this podcast. You know what our initial goal was with this podcast when we started like nearly a year ago? Just to get to 50 episodes.
Yeah.
And then once we got to 50, it was like, let's get to 100 episodes.
Yeah. And interestingly, you saying that is one of the things that's always stuck with me is it's 98% of podcasts fail within the first 10 episodes.
Yeah.
They stop uploading. And that was why I said to you earlier, I started a podcast.
Yeah.
I filmed 6 episodes. Yeah. And I said, I will not upload one until I film 10, because I know if I don't have 10 ready to go, it won't work. And I never did it. Yeah. I've got 6 episodes just sat on a hard drive somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'd love to, because I like just talking like this in long form as well. And I always thought, like, how am I going to package it? Is it going to be another YouTube channel or blah, blah, blah? And it just...
I think that, especially myself, I can't say much for Todd, but that we're just not very intelligent with this space. Yeah. So we're like, we're just going to start with something. And that's how we've always kind of done business, and I've always done, is like, just do something.
Yeah.
Just start. Like, we had, like, on my laptop, we got this thing, Todd kind of found out these microphones. They're not the best ones. We got some lights from Amazon, and we just started with a phone, not even recording on a camera initially. Yeah. And then we're like, actually, maybe let's try with an iPhone. Let's start recording with that. Not great quality, but that led to a few other people who actually wanted to come on. And actually, now we've got your amazing cameras, thank you, tonight. But now we're starting to use like videographers and stuff like this to come in and start actually capturing it.
Yeah, but something is better than nothing. Exactly. It's always the way.
And that's why we're like, right, because even that, we were like, if we get to 50, that's a good bulk, because we did 2 a week, every week for 8 months.
That's really good.
No matter what,
you
know. And then once we hit about 50, once we hit about 60, we're like, okay, now we're just going to do one a week. Because that's, we're busy, we've got a lot of stuff going on, and it's feasible and works better with us. I've got my family and everything else. So, but, it's just getting that load underneath your belt, and then you can then start going off from there rather than just trying to. And if you can do 2 a week, great. You can do 3 a week, great. But 1 a week, we know we can commit to.
And you do that many, you work out what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah.
You find little things that you can improve each time.
Yeah.
And I think collaboration's a big part of it as well. Like even me coming on here, or me having like YouTube channel where other people come and do things with me. Like we've done some challenge videos and things, and it's all about part of the community, like how you can work together. And that's not just for social media, but even like living here at Flow, you meet people that can introduce you to someone else that does a similar thing, or socially or financially or work wise. Like it's
and that was our motivation behind. We just want to just start, you come here as an expat, and you're like, a lot of people come here on their own. This is why we do what we do with our business, RWC. We do big community events to get people together through the power of fitness, because people enjoy that and everything else. But then trying to get people together from all walks of life, all different countries, nationalities, Saudis, expats, we throw them all into the mixing bowl. And then we shout at people, train them hard, everything like you've kind of witnessed. But it's, we use fitness as the tool. But, that's why, with podcasting, it was like, let's just start talking to people. Let's from everything and just find out how other people are doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And how their experiences are, because Saudi is, especially when you come from Western, it's getting easier and easier, but it is a big cultural shift.
Yeah,
everything's
completely different.
You've got the prayers like we just had now, 5 times a day, and got Ramadan coming up.
Yep, that's an interesting time. I've done a Ramadan here
in
before.
Dubai, yeah?
And here.
They do it in Dubai, obviously, yeah?
Well, even like from where I was, when I first came to Dubai 6-7 years ago, it was more like Saudi. You couldn't eat in public. Like the restaurants were closed, and then the next step was restaurants were open behind curtains. Now everything's just open. It's completely changed. Like Saudi, all the restaurants are just closed because no one's eating. Like during the day.
Some try. I remember like the last 2 years, Starbucks has tried to be open.
Okay.
And then after like 3-4 days, they shut them down. Like the one near me, there's one near my complex. And they always try and stay open for the first few days, and then they get shut down. You can go in there like during the day and takeaways and stuff like this,
shifty,
but then they just and they cut it down
Yeah.
every time, basically. I don't know. Maybe they will, because I think as the expat community gets bigger and bigger,
that's what's happened in Dubai as well. Like
they will.
Like I say, it was all closed, and now it's all open. And now where there used to be no music, and now the clubs are open during Ramadan.
What?
Yeah. Clubs, like they're still advertising club nights during Ramadan now. It's like it doesn't affect anyone.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so different.
No, here it's like it totally just turns on its head.
Yeah.
Everything is shut during the day, still pretty much. But then
I've got a good story actually. Yeah? When so last year when it was Ramadan, it was it might have even been 2 years. It must have been 2 years ago. It was like I'd only been in Saudi a few weeks, and I'd been doing jobs back and forth. And I came over, and we were looking at renting a warehouse space. So it was during Ramadan. We went there, met 2 local Saudis, really nice guys. They showed us around this warehouse. I was like, great. And then I went to the car, and I was like, I'll get some water. I'll offer them some water to be nice. I walked out to these 2 guys and was like, would you like some water? They both looked at me like, are you joking?
Are you taking the piss?
Yeah. I was like, and then I remembered. I was like, okay.
And what was this like during the day? Like
it was like literally midday lunchtime. I was like, I'm so sorry. Like that was completely. They were fine about it, and we all laughed. But it was like,
we had to when I used to work in the old place in the gym. Like during the day, if you want water, you have to go to a separate building and then you drink and then go back. Which I get, it's respect, and I like that because like. You respect. You're in someone else's country. You respect
we chose to be here.
We chose to be here. They allowed us in here.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of the West has kind of faltered a little bit. Is that we've not kind of held true our own customs. Over the last few decades, and you kind of lost a lot of the kind of the customs and culture and things like that. The English culture, but. it's in Saudi, it's still very strong. You
Yeah.
know, like you come in, this is what, and it's great. I love it.
Yeah, it's
it.
a complete.
It's not like I want to be here and do all my English things.
Yeah.
I love experiencing the food and all the.
They're so welcoming people as well. Like
So
everything
welcoming.
you do,
And I love the call to prayer. Like for me, it's like a clock. You know, okay, now it's this time of day.
Yeah.
You know, like. And even just seasonally, now it feels like more like, because now the prayers are like 3:50 when it's in the summer, or it's like 5 o'clock now, or whatever it is. Like, it just, for me, because it's the religion kind of pulls you back to, you know, kind of the circadian, the natural clock of the world. You know what I mean? It kind of pulls you back to nature, keeps you connected a little bit with the moon cycles, and like everything else that goes on.
And everyone's following the same sort of pattern.
And it kind of just keeps you connected. Whereas I think, you know, now with we're so disconnected, you know, with everything. Even though we're meant to be more connected than everything before, but. No, I love Ramadan. I love the spirit of Ramadan, and like everyone's normally in a good mood. Everyone focuses on themselves.
It's very, like the giving, the time of giving. And
it's kind of like our New Year in the UK. Like when it gets like January 1st, everyone sets like resolutions like we do.
Or it's like it is like Christmas time where everyone's in high spirits. It's like nice.
But it's a month of Christmas. Literally every night feasting.
Yeah.
And that's why they.
I can't do another iftar. We were going to like these big feasts every single night. And it's like
with like work colleagues and stuff like this.
And it's really nice. Like everyone gathering around together, all breaking fast. It's so nice. And then you do like 5 in a week, and you're like, I'm so full. Like, I did actually eat lunch. I don't want to admit it, but
poor old me, the victim here.
Sorry, guys. But
have you fasted? Have you done
I did one day.
Okay.
And that was it was hard, but it was manageable. But it was good to like do it to understand what people are going through, and
you should
respect it.
I can't do a full thing, vlog it as well.
I vlogged the day. And
come on.
I'd like to try it. It's just I don't think I've got enough self-discipline.
So I've done one full one dry fasting, and now I normally know the last few I've just done wet fast. I'll drink water throughout the day, and that's it.
The water's the big one. I
don't mind not eating.
I drink a lot of water, and like to get dehydrated, I start getting headaches and stuff straight away. So
the dry fasting was that year. I did. I think at the time I was coaching quite a lot, and I used to do outdoor classes. So like, and I used to do a pre-iftar one at like 4:30.
Just to really
my
torture
I
yourself.
did. It was a boot camp. Like, I used to just destroy them, but I was destroyed as well. I was dry and like cramping, and I was like, but we'd be outside doing it, you know, and that was tough. But I find that with that, the first 3 days are the hardest, especially like the second, third day. Then it just gets easier. Then your body just gets used to it. You know?
People say that like it gets easier over the first couple of days.
But that's the great thing about the human body; it adapts. Yes, it always adapts to whatever stress you put on it. It'll adapt basically from that side. But you run, and then you do other bits of fitness. You train, and
so I like. For me, there's I don't know if you know it, in Dubai there's something called Circuit Factory, which is it's just circuits, I guess it's called.
The name.
And like that for me is like the perfect workout, being told exactly what to do. Most of them are just like physical, like obviously physical, throwing a ball or running to a wall or doing some lunges. It's
like F45 or things like that.
that sort of thing, and like that dynamic, like keeping it busy. That's what I love. And like next station. I enjoy that. That's like fun for me. But if I have to go to a gym, I don't know what I'm doing. My form is awful.
You just want to be guided through it, basically. This is the plan today. Off you go.
And the atmosphere and the like, everyone doing it together and the music's going. It's like perfect.
On that sort of stuff. And Eb's the same.
She can go to the gym and do her own little workout, and I go sometimes. I'm like, we got to do 4 sets of the same thing. I don't know what I'm doing. And then like I'd like to do like personal trainer sessions probably, because my form's always really bad. I'm like, my back hurts. And she's like, it shouldn't hurt. Like,
even just to get a few. You just get like 5 or 10 just to know what you're doing, and then you can.
But for me, my fitness goal is always weight loss. Like especially now, like I've put on quite a lot of weight over the past like year or two.
But your job must be active, isn't it?
Yeah, very active.
Sites a lot of the time.
I last week in 5 days I averaged 35,000 steps a day.
Yeah, so you just need to do a little bit of weight training on top, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, and like the running I really like the running, but I just wish we had a little bit better place nearby, so I didn't have to travel somewhere, and then to get more. The problem is with what I do for work is the second I get into a routine, it breaks, because I've got a week of just doing this
then
thing.
You're on this project,
then this
another
changes.
project,
Like last night, I did an overnight, and then the night before I came in at 5 a.m. and then like I'm all over the place, like
changing
all the time. Yeah. So like, and then I tried to go for a run, but I've actually just done a 14-hour shift, so I actually don't really want to. Like,
that's why sometimes it's nice to be able to, whether it's through an app or with a person or an instructor, just turn up and then just do whatever's going on.
I've got the Whoop now. But it just tells me I don't sleep enough.
Yeah,
that's
it tells
kind
you
of
a shit person.
I just open it. It says you're fat and lazy. Oh, great.
I was just ready to say, how long you had it?
For quite a few months now, like 6 or 8 months.
Okay, so you've got some good data on it now. It knows you pretty well now.
Yeah, and it's interesting how things affect it. Like I put in every day, like the caffeine or like the activities I'm doing or whatever. But also, even it's really comparable having like a long day at work where I'm running around site doing different things and going for an hour run, and you see like my strain or whatever they call it is. Sometimes it hits like 20, which is like really high, and I'm like, oh my god! And it's like you look at the day
because you're on your feet all day, moving around,
doing stuff. So it's interesting to see, but then it gives me the information. I'm like, I can't really do much with that. Like, I've still got to go and do this other job or this other thing. Like,
we talked about it a bit on the podcast before. Like, I think it's great for like to wear it for a good. If you're not really aware of your body or your patterns and your habits and this type of thing, to wear it for a good 6 months to a year. Get to understand your body and how different things affect it.
I think,
and then you can.
A lot of it is like I think is obvious. Like where like I wear it and then I do a gym session. It's like, oh, you worked really hard today. I'm like, okay, thanks for that. I got that. Like, So interesting.
I think and then after that, once you understand that awareness, then you know like, okay, if I do this is probably going to happen. If I eat that or I have this type of day.
The most interesting thing is sleep. Like, I don't sleep very well at all, and I never really get enough sleep because I'm always busy doing stuff. To see those numbers is scary sometimes. I'm like, 3 hours sleep, that's not good. 4 hours sleep, 1% recovery. Like,
but you know what? This is what we always say on the podcast. Our bodies are a lot more resilient than we give it credit. Like, they can handle a lot of shit. They've survived a long time. They've been through a lot of shit over our ancestors. Thousands of years. Like, we can, and just having a couple of nights or even a couple of months or whatever, you got a big project going on, it can handle it as long as you give it some time afterwards or somewhere throughout, some recovery, some nourishment, some rest, some things like that. Have a holiday afterwards, and like, our bodies are pretty tough. As long as it's when you're doing, especially for like decades. When you're doing decades of things, that's when you start having problems. Whether that's a lack of movement, not eating the right stuff, because people say like, I have clients, they weigh themselves like every day, and I said the biggest problem is actually you should look at your life almost in a much more broader macro cycle, like more on a monthly, but even to a yearly basis. It's when like you go back, those old school, and maybe you're still quite young. You go to old school reunions because you're in the mid-20s. Like, you go back, and your friends who've they normally put on like 1 or 2 kilos a year since they've left school. And they haven't realised it. But then 10 years later, they're 20 kilos heavier.
I think that's where I'm at now.
This is what you got to watch out for. Because it's that 1 or 2 kilos. So I kind of say to somebody, like, just weigh yourself every new year. Like the 1st of Jan, you weigh yourself. Weigh yourself next, and if you're like 2 kilos heavy, then you got to pay attention, because our bodies don't adjust that quickly to stuff. If you have like a massive cheat meal or loads of calories one day, probably the next day or a day later in the week, you'll eat less because you're just not as hungry.
It's the same thing with the running. Like the start of the year, it wasn't a resolution, but I was like, right now I'm doing this. January, I smashed it. I did so many runs, and then I had like 3 or 4 back-to-back projects where I just didn't have time, and now I'm going back into it, and it's like starting over again. It's like, I made all that progress, and then now we're here.
And this is it. Everyone's talking about consistency, sure, but there is something called life in the way as well, and unless you are a paid influencer fitness person or goes to the gym all the time, it's very or an athlete, professional athlete in some shape or form, it's difficult. But this is why, like, at least trying to get like 1 or 2 strength workouts in a week, just one, even 15-20 minutes. It doesn't have to be long, as long as it's just like you just push a little bit, get a little bit of something. you can maintain a lot of stuff and still get a lot of good results.
Yeah.
You know, but you're active. That's the key. Like, there's kind of three main things. Like, if you really want to stay healthy, is move a lot, like you doing your steps, like you move a lot, you're active day to day. That will keep you fit. Just eat some protein, focus on that, and then lift some weights every now and then. If you focus on those three things, eat a good amount of protein, walk a lot, and you do some resistance training, you're generally going to be all right. 80% of the time you'll be okay.
That's what I need to do. Add some more weight training to my life.
I say from listening to you, that the main thing is just start trying to add a little bit of weight.
I don't need to pay for a PT session anymore.
No, you just go downstairs. You're good. You got all the guys now, all your residents with you. Cool. Well, look, let's. I know you got to go anyway because it's you got to head off in a bit. But I think there's still more we could just talk. So maybe this is just for part one.
Yeah.
I think. But look, Brad, thanks very much for coming on the Saudi Fitness Talk Show. Where can people find you? Point them in the right direction and find out more about whether it's your work stuff or your YouTube channel. Far away.
So as we said, my YouTube channel is Leader of No One, and so is my Instagram. So anything you want to DM me on Instagram, you can get hold of me there. I reply to everyone, or I try. YouTube
and we can buy you a cup of coffee, I think I saw on your
link if you want to buy me a cup of coffee, feel free. Not many people
keep
do.
Keep you caffeinated on those 4 hours of sleep.
Exactly. See, so but check out the YouTube channel. That's where I put all my efforts into. So hopefully some new people check it out and enjoy it. And if not, I also do photography, which is Brad H Photos. But if you get onto the YouTube, you'll find everything. So
I really recommend. I've watched a fair few of your bits and pieces on YouTube, and I love travel vlogs. As you probably can tell, I watch a lot of different people's different vlogging. It's I think it's just me, just envious. I travel a lot, but I couldn't. I don't do as much as I want to. But hopefully in the future, I'd love to take the kids around and then get them traveling as well.
Do it.
So
it's got to be done.
We'll get out there. But look, until next time, let's do another one soon.
Great.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
All right. Cheers. Thanks a lot, Brad.